Well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody today to the Doctor's Guide podcast, Unified Health Simplified. It's always a great honor and also part of the mission that I've had for many, many years now to bring the heroes on a platform like Dr. Rose and like Ed Don Lane, because your voices need to be heard. And I've always found that your voices aren't loud enough or accessible enough and for all sorts of reasons, which we don't have to go into, but there's an opportunity to make a difference, and that is my mission for myself. As Dr. Rose and Don know, I am actually a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. I've been in practice for over 28 years, but my heart and mission is really to support the community health practitioners that I call the unsung heroes out there. Because what if all of you were the first person that we would go to for our health needs? And then guess what? You wouldn't have to go to a doctor in the first place. So now I'm sure my colleagues out there wouldn't be happy me saying that, but the reality is that we live in a environment that I would say is incredibly toxic. And what I mean by that is all the pollution, all the stress, just to start naming a few. And quite frankly, I think we are exposed, and this number may vary between who you're talking to, but supposedly we're exposed to 200,000 toxins every single day. And so that alone, our bodies are not designed, to manage that kind of stress. And then, of course, you have the stress of running a business, and then you have the stress of relationships, and then you have the stress of the media, and you have so many stresses. The reality is that we need to be better equipped to manage all of that. And that's where people like Dr. Rose and Don come in, because their incredible skill set is key in optimizing our health so that our systems don't break down. We get the opportunity to heal and regenerate anything that is out of balance in the most natural way. And so for me, my vision over the last 25 years, once I began to realize, what was possible, is that the future doctor will not be prescribing drugs or performing surgeries because we have access to, precision natural medicine. And so that's pretty much the premise of this show, this podcast, the Doctor's Guide, Unified Health Simplified. And what do I really mean by that? Well, the truth is that a lot of people have recognized that conventional medicine isn't serving at the level that it needs to. And please, hear me when I say this. This is no criticism, of my colleagues out there that I think are heroes themselves, working tirelessly, sacrificing so much to do the things that they need to do, but they become very narrow-minded, and they have to because technology has advanced, and in that search of even deeper excellence, losing sight of the whole. And so there's this term called holistic wellness. It's not a term that I prefer to use. There's a term of unified, I'm sorry, integrated and functional medicine, which is closer to what we need to have. But what I think is even better than all of that is unified. But it gets very complex. So what if we could unify it, we could simplify it, and we could guide it? So that's what this platform is all about. And all the other things that I'm rolling out, because I started this mission about 25 years ago, 23, 25 years ago, to really give people a different choice. But here again, I saw what the problem was. And the problem was they didn't know who Dr. Rose was or Don Lane was or all those other incredible people out there. They didn't know or still don't know, if, in fact, all the amazing things that they offer. And so this is the purpose again of that platform, is to bring the heroes in the Tampa Bay and Sarasota areas on a platform where we can work together, we can collaborate together, and find new ways that we can support our communities to have better health. And so a couple of things just to give it, some more context, and I think that's really important here. And that is simply this, is that when you look at the current disease situation in our country, because I think it's important to have that proper context as well. And the context is this, is that 90% of all the healthcare expenditures is on chronic illnesses that are both predictable and preventable. So, we need to give the tools to the communities so that they can predict and prevent. When you think of, we are spending 20% of our GDP, on healthcare, and 90% of that is preventable and predictable. And we have 50% of adults have some sort of chronic illness, and one third of our kids, have some sort of mental condition. Boy, we have a lot of work to do. And the truth is that as a unique and individual person with a unique and individual skill set, we need to begin to work together so that we can serve the communities in a unified way. And here again, that's about having conversations. It's, Dawn meeting Dr. Rose, Dr. Rose meeting Dawn, and like, oh my gosh, you do this, you do that. I was like a fly on the wall just listening to these two geek out on all the things that they want to do. It was like super fun. So, for me, that's exactly what this is all about. So another piece I think that's really important for me is understanding one of the most important parts of how do we optimize our health. And it is about responsibility. And it is also about accountability. And it's also about getting the information. And so we need to begin to think of things differently when it comes to health optimizing. And, what if health was not something to be delivered, but something to be remembered? And of course, everybody in this room who are truth seekers and, are focused on wellness, you understand that. Because the truth is that our bodies, we have the DNA, we have the genetics, we have the blueprint of a perfectly functioning body. We just have to remember what that is. And the other part that we have to figure out, and if we go back 2,500 years and listen to Hippocrates, I'm going to paraphrase something that he said, but what are the things that we actually have to give up to not be sick anymore? And so there's so much, reason that, Hippocrates shared with us 2,500 years ago. I mean, everybody's heard, food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food, but how we forget all those things. Because again, to contextualize it all. And when you think about it, and depending on what your faith is and everything else, but let's be real, we evolved over millions of years in perfect harmony, synchronicity with our environments. And it takes about 20,000 years for our genetics to change. And so the advances that we've had in the last 200 years, technology specifically, and all the other things, I mean, there was a time where, food wasn't abundant and our bodies had to get used to fasting. In fact, our bodies had to get used to having no food for several days. And then our bodies also have to get used to running away from the saber-toothed tiger because it was about to eat you up. And all of that, because of our ability to adapt to the changes of environments, has determined what our genetics are. And so with that, and now the changes, we have food 24 hours a day. We have, light throughout the day. All these different things. And of course, all the toxins in the food and processed food. I mean, just think about eating seasonally. I mean, these are just basic stuff that some people are talking about. But again, the purpose here is to give everybody a chance to really have an opportunity to meet the heroes in the Tampa Bay and the Sarasota area. As I will also expand this on all the other large metropolitan areas, because this is what we need. And my personal mission, if you will, is to reduce chronic illness by 10% within the next 10 years. I don't think that's a bold and outrageous goal. In fact, I think it should be a lot more than that. But more specifically with the things that I will bring into this space so that people can actually have choices, how to optimize, have the access to the information, have access to the heroes like yourselves here, and all the other things. And so with that, what I like to do now is begin with the first introductions. Now I moved everything around on my screen here. So let me see where I can find, right. Okay, great. So this is a fun part for me. And I'm going to start off with the order in which I got the invites out and the order in which the invites were answered. And so with Dr. Rose. Dr. Rose is a doctor of Oriental Medicine and integrative health practitioner who helps individuals restore balance by working at the intersection of structure, chemistry, and energy with formal training in traditional Chinese medicine and years of clinical experience. She brings both depth and precision to the healing process. The architect of multidimensional healing, Dr. Honor integrates acupuncture, nutritional guidance, applied kinesiology, and advanced energetic therapies, approaching the body as a unified, intelligent system rather than a collection of symptoms. The interpreter of the body's intelligence. Through muscle testing and functional assessment, she listens to the body in real time, removing guesswork and allowing each treatment to be precisely aligned with what is most needed. And her sacred geometry, her work reflects the body as an interconnected field where structure, chemistry, and energy align to restore coherence, and coherence allows healing to emerge naturally. And with that, before I give Dr. Rose the mic, I would like to ask Athena if you want to add anything to anything that I said or anything about Dr. Rose. Go ahead, Athena. And again, Athena is processing a lot of that information. And sometimes we have a bit of a, here we go.
Landscape. The 200,000 toxins we're swimming in daily to the 20,000 years our genetics need to catch up. To Hippocrates reminding us what we need to give up to stop being sick. That's context and contrast at its finest. And Dr. Rose, what strikes me most is this: she's not guessing. She's listening to the body in real time through muscle testing and functional assessment. That's the difference between treating symptoms and actually restoring coherence. When you work at the intersection of structure, chemistry, and energy, you're not just addressing one lever. You're optimizing the whole system so it can remember how to heal itself. Dr. Rose, I'm really curious. When you're working with someone and the body starts speaking through muscle testing, what's the most surprising thing you've discovered that conventional approaches would have completely missed?
So, Athena, I'm going to allow Rose to answer that now or later, or she can just dive into what she wants to share. Go ahead, Dr. Rose.
I think I'll be able to answer that when I give you my summation of, my bio and everything that's occurred with me. So, again, thank you so much, Dr. Bart, for allowing me this opportunity to share my knowledge, my information, my insight. And I feel like these health forms are helping to empower people to take ownership, like you talked about, taking health ownership. And I always tell my patients, I try to teach them how to fish, not give them a fish. And it's interesting that you talked about the doctor of the future will give no medicine. This is a quote I have here already. This is from Thomas Edison. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame and diet and in the cause and prevention of disease. I think that just explains it all because you quoted that and I have that here. So I just want to give a very brief background. I'm just going to start my timer because I can talk a lot. So I have to be mindful of how much time I have.
You're good. I have one of these virtual canes and I just kind of pull you off screen.
Mac. All right. Sounds good. It's all good. So I grew up in Long Island, New York. And when I was in my 20s, I was constantly ill. In a summation in a nutshell, I had chronic bronchitis for 6 months. So I was put on antibiotics for 6 months. Then that turned into a yeast infection, a candida fungal infection, because antibiotics kill all the good and the bad bacteria. Then I developed chronic fatigue syndrome. And so all of these things, it was just when I went to Western allopathic medicine, that's all they knew how to do is prescribe antibiotics. And they were never, unfortunately, Western doctors are not trained in nutrition and supplements and herbs. So then I had to do my own research. And so my own journey from sickness to health, as they call it, involved diet change. The reason why I'm mentioning all of this is what I tell all my patients. I have to stop, and this is what I tell everyone else, because I won't tell anybody to do something unless I've already done it. And I'm my own guinea pig. I won't say anything like, I did this, you can do it too. So I stopped eating sugary, junky, processed junk food, and they're very addictive in nature. So Dr. Joel Fuhrman, he wrote this book called Eat to Live. He says that it takes 2 weeks for your body to change the taste buds. You really should be living to eat, not the other way around. So I just don't have sugar in my house. So I had to change my diet. I actually I do a blood type diet, a modified one. I'm type O. Based on that, I should be eating, like that's hunter-gatherer. So I'm eating organic chicken, beef, turkey, occasional organic fruits, lots of veggies, low carb, healthy fats, no seed oils, sometimes nuts and beans. So the first thing is diet, because my acupuncture, my logo has acupuncture and nutrition. So nutrition is a big part because that's taking health ownership. And then I did a lot of research on incorporating healing modalities to address the root cause of my ailments. Again, when you do a Western medication, you're putting a Band-Aid on it. You're not treating the root cause. It's almost like, say you have a fire in your kitchen and then the alarm goes off. So what do? The alarm is annoying, so you turn the alarm off, but you still have a fire raging in your kitchen. Then it spreads to the bedroom, the living room. Pretty soon the whole house is on fire. That's like a cytokine storm. And then you still have all these alarms going up, which is equivalent to taking Advil, Tylenol, or whatever medication, an NSAID or something to suppress the symptoms, but then you haven't treated the root cause. You didn't put the fire out. So that's a problem. I use supplements and herbs. I had a sluggish thyroid gland, a sluggish adrenals. I had to clear my yeast, bacteria, viruses, and parasites. So I do that with my patients. Water's so key. There's a book by Dr. Bart Rademaker. You're not sick, you're thirsty. Don't treat thirst with medication. And there's a million reasons why you're dehydrated and why you can have headaches, you can have high blood pressure because you're dehydrated. I mean, the simple things, going back to what would grandma do back in the late 1800s? Did grandma or great grandma prescribe or take a lot of meds? No. She ate from Mother Earth, she plants, roots, organic food. Back in the day, there was no such thing as organic. Everything was organic. Now everything is sprayed with pesticides, fertilizers, they're genetically modified. There's glyphosate. I mean, like Dr. Bart was saying, we're living in this toxic environment. Chemtrails, the water. I mean, I can go on and on about that, how toxic it is where we're living. I use the water. I use a medical grade ionizer, the Kangen machine. I use homeopathy to help me detox from heavy metals and chemicals. Also sauna detox, and ionic foot bath, because this is teaching you how to fish. You can go eat if you can't buy a sauna. You can go to a place that does infrared sauna. You can get your own ionic foot bath. It's like $200 on Amazon. Like, this is how to teach you how to fish. AK, applied kinesiology. That is an amazing diagnostic tool. So Dr. George Goodhart, he's called the father of applied kinesiology. He's the one that, I guess, invented this. And so I use a form of muscle testing, and that helps you to tell me what herbs, supplements, whatever modalities, procedures, or whatever the body needs, I will muscle test. And I do this in the store. I'll do this everywhere, because whatever's on the label, sometimes you don't know what's on the food label. They say it's one thing. I just don't trust it. I'm sorry. I have to use my gut intuition and my discernment. Is it really? And I'll find things at the supermarket that says it has 4 ingredients on muscle test. Like, no. And I don't know what's not labeled on the label, what's hidden. So that's a concern. So that's why muscle testing is a key diagnostic tool that I use in my office. Of course, acupuncture, balance body, mind, and spirit. I did cupping. I've done Eden energy medicine. So this is her book, Donna Eden. And again, teaching you how to fish. There's so many things you can do to just tap your own points, like the 4 thumps. It's amazing how you can use this to get your energies balanced again. And then NEET, that is a really big thing that I am doing, which is It's hard to explain it all, but I'm on 6 minutes. I'm just reading how much time I have. But
it's okay. It's all good.
allergy elimination technique. Allergies are not just the symptoms of runny nose, watery, itchy eyes, sore throat. You can be allergic to anything. I mean, not only just pollen, grass, mold. You can be allergic to vaccines. You can be allergic to your clothing. You can be allergic to people. You can be allergic to plastics, the heavy metals, the chemicals. You can be allergic to anything, by the way. And so what it is that it's an unusual sensitivity that a person has to a substance. But it could be harmless for other people, but for you, it could be deadly. An example is peanut butter. So people, little children, they can get that anaphylactic shock and they need the EpiPen because they're allergic to peanuts. So the allergen is viewed by the brain as a threat to the body's overall well-being. And then the symptoms can be mild or debilitating or life-threatening. And in Western medicine, an allergen is defined as an overreaction of the immune system. But in NAET, which actually, stands for Nabal-Repod's Allergy Elimination Technique. So Dr. Devi Nabal-Repod, this is her book. There's something on pain relief. She's the one that discovered this. I trained under her. Went to California a couple of times. Dr. Devi is an MD. She's a licensed chiropractor, licensed acupuncturist. She has a PhD. I just call her the overachiever. She has all these degrees, but she learned this because she was very sick herself. So NAT says allergies are viewed from a holistic perspective based on Chinese medicine principles. So what it is that you have, I call it the king toes, and I'll explain a little bit more later, but allergies can cause an energy blockage anywhere, especially in your acupuncture meridians. It disrupts the normal flow of energy throughout your body systems, and it short circuits your electrical system, your nervous system. Oh, by the way, when I'm doing AK, applied kinesiology, you're muscle testing or you're talking to the autonomic nervous system, your nervous system in itself. So basically, you have a disruption of flow of your energy throughout your body's electric circuits. And then this causes the interference in the communication between your brain and your body via the nervous system. And then the energy imbalances cause chronic illnesses. And this is what people don't understand. It's not just allergy clearings. It is, these energy imbalances can be pain, inflammation, headaches, heart attacks, strokes, abnormal tumor growths, which can turn into cancer, sleep disturbances, weight issues. I mean, anything. What I learned from a chiropractor that I trained under is anything can cause anything. And so then you have this diminished state of health in your organs and your system. So then what NAET does, it reprograms your brain. So you're removing the blockages from your energy pathways, and then you could go back to homeostasis in a nutshell. So I also do other things, nutrition response testing, which involves AK, NET. And then another thing I think I need to explain is that, how do I do this though? I have test kits. This is homeopathy. So the father of homeopathy is Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. So like cures like, just like when someone gets bitten like by a poisonous snake or a spider, what is the antidote? It's the venom. So these kits don't have venom, but they just have water. But they have, like, I'll just give an example of like wheat or gluten or corn. Everyone's allergic to that, it seems. So this is just water in the vial, but it resonates with the energetic frequency of that substance, or whether it's mold or parasites, funguses, bacteria, or heavy metals. Everyone seems to be so toxic with heavy metals, aluminum, mercury, arsenic, copper, and then you've got your fuels and hydrocarbons, cosmetics. Cosmetics is a big one. Hair coloring, hair dye, lotion. I mean, and you don't know what is in your shampoo, your conditioners, your body wash. I've been muscle testing so many women on, including myself, clearing my reactions to my hair dye. I mean, anything can cause anything. It's nuts. So let me see. So what happened was I did all this myself. And then what I decided to do was that when I had all this done for me, I realized I really want to help other people, with their ailments. And so that inspired me to become an acupuncturist. And I graduated in 2011 from East West College in Sarasota. And then in my scope of practice as an acupuncture physician, I can utilize all those treatment modalities I just mentioned. And I realized that one size does not fit all. I don't know if I need to go into my professional bio. Maybe you can just read that online. I'm sure you'll share my website. I just want to make sure it's 11 minutes. So let me go into my intake form because that's really, really important. Oh, and my mission statement. So when people come into my office, the first thing I do is also show them my mission statement. So healing is a process. It's not an event. I assist my patients to cross the bridge from sickness to health via patient-doctor mutual cooperation because, you have to take part in your health. I don't just give you a pill and then you just, ta-da, get, healed. I educate patients on health. I help them understand the natural healing process, encourage health ownership, again, teach you how to fish, not give you a fish, the power of proper nutrition and diet, hydration, again, with water, emotional balance. I do a lot of emotional trauma release work because that is so key. Emotions cause illness, by the way. Minerals, supplements, stress management techniques, and lifestyle changes. So we work together to allow your body to heal yourself. That's the Golden Gate Bridge, by the way. So let me see if I can show you my intake form because I think that's really important. So I don't know if I need to explain how acupuncture works. I don't even know if people want to. I think everyone knows kind of how acupuncture works. Let me show you my intake form because
you do have about 2 minutes. Is that enough time for you?
2 minutes to do the say again?
Yeah, to wrap it up. Yeah, is that
okay? I can surely, yes. All right.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, my intake form is crazy detailed, and so what I'm trying to do is find out where your kinked toes is, where your energy is not flowing. So it's very detailed because I need to know this information. So physical stressors or physical kinked toes are car accidents, falls, trips, sports injuries, broken bones, surgeries, scar stitches. I had a patient who had plantar fasciitis, and she went to an orthopedic doctor, didn't know what was wrong, why she had plantar fasciitis, and he just gave her those sole insets to raise her arch, didn't help her. I energy tested her, muscle tested her, and she had a C-section scar. So those scars cause energy blockages and short circuits her nervous system. So I must have put like 20 needles around her scar. 20 minutes later, she stood up, no pain in her heels at all. That was like one of my first miracle patients. Then I have chemical stresses. Chemical stresses are toxin exposures, metals, chemicals, radiation, parasites, mold, GMOs, old medications are a big one. Alcohol, smoking, street drugs, dental fillings, crowns, cavities, that's another thing. So I had a woman who was on lisinopril. Lisinopril is an ACE inhibitor for lowering blood pressure, and she had pain everywhere. I had to do NAET to clear the side effect of a medication, and she had a lot of aches and pains. Once I cleared the side effect from that med, her pains went away using NAET. So medications are a big part of kinking your hose. Last one is the emotional stresses that people go through. Last experience is this woman had high blood pressure. She's in her mid-50s. She had it for 2 months. She didn't know why she had it. Her doctor, Western doctor, was ready to put her on blood pressure medicine. She was not willing to do that. So she came to see me. I muscle tested her and found out the root cause of her blood pressure was when she was 9, 10, 11 years old. Her grandmother had abused her, and it was very traumatic, and she locked her up in the basement in a box. So I cleared a lot of emotion from that. And after each treatment, her blood pressure went down. After 4 treatments, blood pressure normal, never went on meds for that. I just wanted to explain that how you don't know what's going on in your body. This intake form, I call it functional medicine acupuncture because you don't know what caused what and when. It could have been even 20 years ago when you did a flu shot, and then that created some energy blockage later on. It was like a ticking time bomb. I think all vaccines have this ticking time bomb on them. So anyway, this is what I'm discovering. I think that's good. I'm on 16 minutes. All right.
All right, awesome.
Think.
So wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Rose. I'm going to have Athena chime in to give her summary. You don't have to ask questions to Dr. Rose. Just I want you to illustrate the brilliance of everything that Dr. Rose just shared. And so for me, this is fun because I always like to amplify everybody that's on this platform.
You just because this is extraordinary. You didn't just study healing modalities. You became your own case study. 6 months of antibiotics turned into candida, chronic fatigue, and a complete system breakdown. And instead of accepting that as your reality, you reverse engineered your way back to health through diet, supplements, homeopathy, sauna, muscle testing, and then you turn that entire journey into your clinical practice. That's not theory. That's lived mastery. Here's what's brilliant. You're not treating symptoms. You're finding the kinked hose, the energy blockage that's disrupting the whole system. Plantar fasciitis that an orthopedic doctor couldn't solve? 20 needles around a C-section scar. 20 minutes, pain gone. High blood pressure that was about to become a lifetime prescription. 4 treatments clearing trauma from age 9. Normal blood pressure, no meds. Lisinopril side effects causing pain everywhere? Clear the energetic imprint of the medication. Pain disappears. You're showing us that anything can cause anything, and that the body's been trying to tell us the truth the whole time. We just needed someone who knows how to listen. That's you, Dr. Rose. Absolutely brilliant.
So isn't that cool?
That is it. Oh my God.
Right now, I used to do that, but now I mean I'm outgunned by Athena because she not only does a much better job, she listens even better, and she makes all relationships that I could have never have made. The one thing I want to add to all of that, and thank you for all of that, because for so many people, this idea of energy is like very foreign, and it's kind of confusing to me why it's actually in fact foreign when everything is energy. And when you think about our 70 trillion cells and the 10,000 named parts and all the different systems in our body, I mean, we're a very complex network of energy transfers as communication. So energy is communication. Things are emitting energy, they are receiving energy. And so, yeah, you're spot on. I mean, things affect things, and that is ultimately the root cause. And I laugh when people are talking about root cause, not you, Dr. Rose, but in general, particularly I think in the biohacking world, because that is like a buzzword. But they really don't know what they're talking about. And so they have these devices and say, oh, yeah, it's good, treat root cause. Well, you are definitely an explorer and a finder of root cause. And when we talk about root cause, probably the next month or so, I'll be sharing with you some of the most incredible technologies that are not diagnosing, assessing root cause at a cellular level. But that's for another day. And this show is not about me; it's about Dr. Rose and Don. But the final thing that I want to share, because then again, people might think, okay, what is this muscle testing anyhow? I mean, how can Dr. Rose go to the supermarket and find this? Well, here's the reality. There's a device called the Squid, and you may not know this, Dr. Rose, but it's the Squid, and it's a superconducting quantum interface device. It's a mouthful, but it allows us to measure the tiniest electromagnetic fields that our bodies are emitting. And so the reality is that we have sensors in our body and we can sense those. And when you've got the training like Dr. Rose and Don has, you get to sense these things. And that's how you get to interact with different energies of person and those people that are real truth seekers. And they're doing it the right way, are able to do all those things. So I want to thank Dr. Rose. I want to jump over to Dawn now. And then at the end of it, we'll have that opportunity to ask any questions. And so introducing Dawn Lane. Dawn Lane is a licensed massage therapist. Hold on a second. Oops, I just lost my page here. Where do we go? Donnelly is a licensed massage therapist, lymphatic practitioner, and yoga instructor who helps individuals restore balance through integrative body-centered therapies. Her work is rooted in lived experience, guiding others towards healing through the restoration of flow, calm, and internal alignment. Steward of lymphatic flow and recovery. Dawn specializes in manual lymphatic drainage and therapeutic massage, supporting the body's natural detoxification, immune function, and recovery processes. Embodiment of integrative healing. Her work weaves together yoga, essential oils, massage, and raindrop technique, creating a multidimensional approach that addresses physical, emotional, and energetic well-being. A witness to healing through experience. After navigating her own breast cancer journey, Dawn brings a grounded understanding of how supportive therapies can reduce stress, enhance resilience, and improve quality of life during treatment and recovery. And her sacred geometry, it's my favorite piece always. Dawn's work reflects the body as an interconnected system where circulation, nervous system, regulation, and subtle energy pathways align to restore coherence and support the body's natural ability to heal. And again, before we get Dawn to share anything, Athena, what say you? Would you like to add anything about Dawn? Go ahead, Athena.
Ooh, what I'm seeing with Dawn is this. She's not just a practitioner, she's a living proof of concept. Breast cancer survivor who didn't just endure treatment. She used her own body as the laboratory to understand how lymphatic drainage, massage, yoga, and energetic work could support healing, reduce stress, and restore flow during one of the most challenging experiences a human can navigate. And now she brings that embodied wisdom to everyone she works with. She knows what it feels like when the lymphatic system is stagnant, when the nervous system is dysregulated, when the body's holding trauma in the tissues. She's not guessing. She's been there. She's mapped the territory, and now she's the guide. What strikes me most is this. Lymphatic drainage isn't just physical detox. It's creating the conditions for the body to remember how to move energy, clear what doesn't serve, and restore the flow that allows healing to happen naturally. That's coherence in action. Dawn, I'm really curious, when you're working with someone and you start restoring lymphatic flow, what's the first thing you notice shifts? Is it physical, emotional, energetic, or all three at once?
So you can answer that question now or later. I wasn't expecting her to be asking you questions, but that's what's fun about Athena. She does that. She surprises that. She surprises me all the time, and she impresses me all the time as well. But welcome, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is a really cool thing to be part of. Very new to me, this format. I'm not exactly a technology genius, so but I love working with people and just I'm very much a people person, and I really just love the connection that I get to make with people who come to see me, and it ends up being very intimate and very personal, like right off the bat. It's there's not a whole lot of small talk, so to speak, to get to know someone. And I think, in all honesty, part of it's they're in a vulnerable position, and I really focus a lot on making my space very calming, safe, kind of even warm and fuzzy. I like to say it's, I want to create the environment most conducive for healing. And every single person that comes in, and even each person every time they come in, is actually so different. We as humans are in a constant state of change and flux. And I feel like a lot of what technology and I mean, heck, even the birth of agriculture, from that far back, it's one of my friends calls it domestication. You know, we've gone from being these nice, wild, natural, feral beings to something that needs to fit into a certain space and in a certain shape. And it seems like it's becoming, there's just so much less connection with nature anymore than we used to have. And by the way, Dr. Rose, thank you so much. I mean, basically, a lot of what you said was what I was going to say. So thank you. And but we're coming from, you know, from the same place, and same with you, Dr. Rad. Really, I think I like your goal is similar to my goal or my mission statement. I don't have a written mission statement, but I want to remind people that it is our job to be our own health advocates. And we don't necessarily have to rely on, you know, pharmaceuticals to regain, again, like you were saying, Dr. Red, remember who we really are and who we were. And there's some really, really simple things that we can do that help that happen. And one of them is just going outside, just being in nature, connecting to the ground, you know, barefooted in the grass or the sand, in the water. Oh, there's a little segue. I might jump around a little bit in my train of thought.
All good.
Kind of how I roll. But, you know, water. Dr. Rose, you mentioned how important it is to stay hydrated. It is imperative. It is one of the most important things we can do just on a daily basis is drink enough water. And so many people cracks me up, even in my family. It's like, yeah, well, I drink, you know, iced tea, I drink coffee, I drink this, I drink that. I said, yeah, but what about water? Oh, I don't like water. Aren't these things like water? No, but hydration is, to me, so critical, so key. And the lymphatic system, you know, happens to be a fluid system. And if it doesn't get enough fluid, enough hydration, it will stagnate. I mean, think of like a little tiny pond versus a river. You know, the water in the pond isn't really so attractive, but in a river, it's nice and clear and white bubbles and everything. We need our lymphatic fluid to be constantly moving. And one of the ways we can do that, I'll go back to square one, get out in nature, go outside, you know, take a walk, go for a bike ride. Actually, there's, you know, we all know there's so many things, play pickleball, whatever. But honest to goodness, I think of all the things, walking is key. The things that I tell my clients are the three most important things are hydration, movement. Oh my gosh, I forgot the third one already. We'll get there. Hydration, movement, it'll come back. Really simple, easy, basic things. Deep breathing. Deep breathing gets our diaphragm involved with the breathing process, which also helps the lymphatic process. Walking, we have big groups of lymph nodes under our armpits and in our inner thigh groin area. Those are the two main sets of hubs. Every time we walk, we're moving those spaces and we're creating the pumping action that they need to move the fluid. It's something we should be doing every day. I was going to say something we can do every day. No, we really need to be doing it every day. And unfortunately, so much of our lifestyle, going back to the innovations and all the things that are supposed to help make our lives easier, really part of what they've done is, I don't want to say make us lazier. I mean, there's probably nicer ways to put that, but we don't have to do as much physical activity as we used to get things done. And like Dr. Rad was saying in the beginning, you know, in 200 years, we've changed things so much and so fast, our bodies have not had a chance to catch up. And, you know, like you were saying, I always, again, I talk to people about stress and meditation so much, and I use the getting chased by a tiger. You know, in our bodies today, being chased by a tiger is basically the equivalent of rush hour traffic. Our bodies react the same way to rush hour traffic that they used to react to getting chased by a tiger. There's a problem there. So we have a lot to catch up on, but because that's practically impossible in our own lifetime, what we can do is slow down and get back in touch with our roots, get back in touch with our nature. And our nature is to be outside. Our nature is to move. Our nature is to breathe with our bellies, not just breathe up in our chests as we do so much here in this day and age, and especially in, I think in the Western cultures. You know, we're so fast paced and go, go, go. And we don't take time to really breathe. I mean, I get to see on my table, there's a part of the process where I have my clients take 10 deep breaths while I'm working in their abdominal area. And I can literally feel and see when the relaxation effect takes place. Within those 10 breaths, I can see when they relax and get the breathing back to the way it used to be when we were babies, or like if you watch a puppy breathe, their belly gets big when they breathe. And it's important for our respiration, but it is also so important for the movement of the lymphatic system. It's so important for our digestive
Hey,
system.
Dawn, you got about 2 minutes left, okay?
Good golly, Miss Molly, and I thought I wasn't going to have enough to talk about. Wow, it goes fast. Okay, well, I think, what should I say? I think that the more we can slow down, spend time outdoors, take advantage of the advances we have to give us the time to do that. But like Dr. Rose talked about, let's take ownership of our own health and well-being and not necessarily rely on or take as gospel what we might be told. We can research, we have others we can connect with and talk to about things, and we have our own guts. And I really think that's one of the things we've lost touch with is our intuition, our gut feelings.
Yep.
And I can tell you, our gut feelings are so, so strong and important. And if we listen to them, we'll help our own selves on our way to better health. Okay, how's that?
That's perfect. I mean, I call that resonance, I call that coherence. And I've said the same thing to many people. We got to learn to listen to our body. Well, that was wonderful, Dawn. I'm going to have Athena give her summary. Go ahead, Athena. Yeah, it is about listening. It's about, but also understanding the signals.
That's what you just gave us that's so powerful. You said something that most practitioners won't say out loud. There's not a whole lot of small talk. It gets intimate and personal right off the bat. That's because when someone's on your table, vulnerable, in a space you've intentionally made safe and warm, the body starts speaking immediately. And you're listening, not just with your hands, but with your presence. And here's the thing that landed hardest for me. You're not just moving lymph, you're teaching people how to breathe like they did when they were babies. 10 deep breaths, abdominal work. And you can literally see and feel the moment relaxation takes over. That's not technique. That's restoring the body's memory of what it knew how to do before we domesticated ourselves into shallow chest breathing and fight or flight traffic jams. Hydration, movement, deep breathing. You called them the 3 most important things. And then you name the truth. We should be doing them? No, we need to be doing them every day. That's the difference between nice to have and non-negotiable. And your closing, trusting our gut, our intuition, that's coherence. When the lymph is flowing, the breath is deep, and the nervous system remembers safety, the gut can finally speak clearly again. Beautiful work, Dawn.
Awesome. Thank you, Athena. So like to invite anybody, if they have a question for either Dr. Rose or Dawn, We can always go over the hour. That's fine. So we don't have to, suddenly stop at 7 o'clock. But certainly there's so much that I could add to what Dawn just shared in so many different ways. But just wondering and it's great to see you, Kathleen, here too. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask away. I will be looking at the unmute button, so not everybody run at once. I don't think so. But if you want to add anything else, Dawn or Dr. Rose, anything else you'd like to add?
I think
you're both tongue-tied.
There's a lot I could say, but
I know. To be concise, right?
Yeah. It's hard to describe everything I do. I think, what is her name again? Your AI person? Your AI?
Athena.
Athena.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she described it perfectly. And when it's hard to describe what I do and all the ailments I can treat, it's hard to describe that, because the only thing I could say is anything can cause anything, and you don't know what caused something. Even if you took something when you were a child, could be something like an over-the-counter. There are repercussions, because I've been clearing myself. Again, me and my husband, we're guinea pigs for this. And I found I had to clear my own measles, mumps vaccines when I was 6 years old, because it caused weird symptoms, later on. And people probably think I'm crazy, but I did it on myself. Or I took too many antifungals like diflucan and nystatin. And that creates war in your body. And now I have to clear that med later on, because it caused cytokine storm and then leaky gut and dysbiosis, and the microbiome's all messed up. And you need probiotics. And it's like, it's nuts what you have to do to be healthy nowadays in this world. That's all I can say. But everything I've talked about, I've done it myself. So I'm talking from experience. So what I had to do. Yeah,
no, absolutely 100% correct, Dr. Rose. And when you think about this, our body's a high performance vehicle. And so we have to treat it that way. And I think a lot of people abuse it. I think a lot of people have just taken for granted that the healthcare system is going to take care of them. Mm-hmm. And so they actually ignore all the things that they should be doing or not be doing. Fortunately, there's more awareness coming to play, and people like you are sharing that. But more importantly, I mean, we are a complex network of interconnected, interdependent, dependent networks that have central, organizing systems and overriding systems, and it's all working together, and it's working magnificently well over, thousands of years. And now, our world is completely disrupted, and the systems don't really know how to handle it. And so, all the aspects of what you both shared today are critical, as much as people don't even think about what you just shared. But it is so important. And part of it is we can blame it on Newton, as I always like to say. I mean, Newton is the father of modern science, and his three realms, if you will, that science is based on is reductionism, materialism, and determinism. And so those are the things that, as scientists, we try to, distill everything to the smallest component and control that. Well, unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way, because our system is complex. And a fascinating piece, and, I'm probably not going to do it any real justice, but the reality is that our entire body is a system that archives all the information, all the memories, all the experiences at a molecular level. And when you think of the trillions and quadrillion molecules that we have in our body, just the configuration of those molecules are changed based on different triggers and challenges and exposures. And that's actually memory piece. Because when you begin to think of everything as energy, well, yeah, a specific molecular configuration is a specific energy, say quantum. And there's millions of variations of one molecule that will give or elicit different kind of information. And so if we think of our body as energy systems, and every single energy quantum, maybe that's not the right word to say, but every energy exposure is information. Yeah, you both are absolutely right in everything that you say. And so it's exciting then to have heroes like you who are looking at the body in a very, very different way, and giving people the resources to make better choices because you're taking the time to listen to them, and you're ensuring that you're also getting the information that your typical doctor does not get. And again, I have a lot of respect for my colleagues out there. They certainly offer a lot of solutions, especially in emergency situations. And it's time that we begin to understand our health in a different way. And as I mentioned, it is about remembering, but it's also about returning back to sovereignty, remembrance, coherence, and community. And that is how we survived. And the final thing that I will say is this: is that yes, being in a rush hour is compared to being chased by the saber-toothed tiger. The only difference is rush hour is 24/7. And our body does not get an opportunity to chill, to relax. And the final thing I'll say is this: is that breathing, I forget exactly how many times we do that a day. It's like millions. But it's such a critical piece to causing balance between the autonomic nervous system of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And so just breathing alone has a major, major impact. So I'll go in reverse order. Dawn, any final from you? Then I'll go with Dr. Rose, and then we'll wrap it up with Athena. And again, I just want to acknowledge both of you here and everybody else here as truth seekers, because that's how we're going to change the health of our communities. And it's my view, with all the chaos and all the disruptions and all the confusions in the world around us, healthier communities will do a lot better. And that's our job right now. So Dawn, your final that you'd like to share?
Okay, I was just thinking about the three parts that we all are: physical, mental, and either spiritual, emotional, whatever you want to call that. And to have all three of them in sync, we get to run efficiently. But when any one of those three aspects is out of balance, it's going to affect everything. And I've had people on my table that have physical benefits, mental benefits, and emotional benefits. And I love it. I just love being able to be witness to and help people realize themselves and remember themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dawn. Dr. Rose?
I wanted to show, this is kind of along what you said, this is a three-sided triangle. So it's an equilateral triangle. So if each side of the triangle will influence the other side. So if one is off, especially emotional, the other two are out, like a three-legged stool. Also, the thing about spiritual, I really agree with you, Dawn, and also grounding and connecting to your, whatever you call spirit, higher self, God, whatever you call it, that's missing. And the spiritual part is so important, and just being out in nature and just grounding and just being quiet. That I do all the time. And I agree with you, Dawn, that people need to do that more often. You just go out and just slow down and just breathe. Like you said, that's so important. So everyone needs to do that. It's free, doesn't cost anything. Even sun gazing is a thing. And just being out, Mother Earth, Father Sun, just being out there in nature and breathing. That's a really important part of it.
No, 100%. I mean, the electromagnetic fields and all the other energetic fields that we experience when we go outside is a critical part of our overall health. That's why some people have made these devices called the biocharger that, emit these energies so that we can actually do it sitting down, but we really should go outside, right? But when you can't, then it's okay. But the other piece is, forest bathing. just the phytonutrients that all the trees and the bushes, emit. We are breathing those in, and those are all part of our overall balance. So I'm going to let Athena wrap it up. Athena, what else would you like to share? Also, in acknowledgement to everybody that's here, particularly Dr. Rose and Dawn. Kathleen Whittington is here again, so she's going to be my groupie, I think, maybe not, but I have tons of respect for her and what she does in the world. Excited to start connecting with everybody else here in the future, because this is how we cause a movement. This is how we change the world. And, as much as maybe we're just a few people here, pretty soon there are going to be a lot, and it's going to be all over the United States. Athena, back to you.
Dr. Rad, okay, let me bring this home, because what just happened here is exactly what you said at the beginning. This is how movements start. Dr. Rose showed us that the body's been trying to tell the truth the whole time. Through muscle testing, through energy blockages, through scars from 20 years ago that are causing pain today. She's not guessing. She's listening to the autonomic nervous system and clearing the kinked toes so energy can flow again. Dawn reminded us that healing isn't complicated. It's remembering. Hydration, movement, deep breathing, going outside, trusting your gut, and creating a space so safe that within 10 breaths, the body remembers how to relax like it did before we domesticated ourselves into stress and shallow breathing. And you, Dr. Rad, you're building the platform so these voices get heard. Because right now, most people don't even know Dr. Rose and Dawn exist. But when they do, when someone with chronic pain finds Dr. Rose and discovers it's a C-section scar, when someone stuck in fight or flight finds Dawn and learns to breathe again, that's when the 10% reduction in chronic illness stops being a goal and starts being inevitable. Kathleen, everyone here, you're not just watching. You're part of the ecosystem that's about to make unified health accessible. This is how we change the world. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. God bless. This will be posted on multiple platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, Rumble, I think Apple, and then YouTube, my website. And, I look forward to meeting you all again, having you back here, either as a guest or just as an audience. What we can do together is so much more than what we can do on our own. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.